Welcome to KMUZ Theatre Talk. I'm Ed Shopes.
And I'm Ann McBride. KMUZ Theatre Talk comes your way the first and third Fridays of the month to bring you all the news and interviews about what's happening in the Mid-Willamette Valley theater world. On today's program, Ed and I talk with Theater 33 artistic director Susan Coromel about reprising their original holiday production of A Christmas Carol, a 1940s radio play in the Putnam Theater at Willamette University. She'll also tell us what's ahead for Theater 33's Summer New Plays Festival.
And in our second interview, Ann and I talk with director Laura Blackwell and cast members from the holiday favorite It's a Wonderful Life, a live radio show playing December 13th through 15th at the Russell Tripp Performance Center on the Linn-Benton Community College campus in Albany. But before we get started, I have some really big news for all you loyal fans of KMUZ Theatre Talk. It's true, this is Ann's final Theatre Talk program after hosting it for 12 years. Say it ain't so, Ann.
Yeah, I'm leaving. And I will leave it in your capable hands.
Oh boy, that's asking a lot. Wow. 12 years hosting Theatre Talk. So tell us, Ann, how did you get started with this program?
Well, I was already involved with KMUZ doing the Celtic Music Hour. And Melanie Zermer, who kind of runs things.
She's an original founder, right, of KMUZ?
Yes. And she interviewed Pinnacle's production of the Laramie Project on her morning show. And she said, we should have a theater show. Ann's done theater. Let's make Ann do it.
So you got voluntold.
Yes, exactly.
And all the rest is history, right?
Right.
Tell us a little bit about your top hits or your best memories of hosting Theatre Talk.
I hosted Theatre Talk through many different talented people. Sometimes they were less prepared than others. Sometimes they just showed up at the last minute. We used to do live interviews. Now we do Zoom interviews and you get to edit. But a lot of times it was live radio and somebody just didn't show up or showed up in a very strange way.
They weren't prepared, in other words. They didn't know what radio was about.
No. It was interesting. And sometimes we had phone interviews and the phone didn't work or the mic didn't work or, it's all part of doing a live radio show.
Especially on a volunteer radio station.
Yes.
With used equipment, volunteer engineers, and all of that sort of stuff. It's always a challenge, right?
Right. Exactly.
Did you like doing the live interviews more than being here on Zoom?
Well, there's an added energy when you're doing live radio, but there's a lot of problems. Witness the radio cutting out and all that stuff. It's much better with you editing it.
Well, it is a little bit of work to do that, but I got to agree. The quality of our interviews really has ticked up. Not have to have people in the studio at 9 o'clock in the morning on a Friday when they should be at work and stuff like that.
Right.
So,
and I remember one time asking somebody a question and having him not answer it. And we had 10 minutes. We needed to have him talk, but he didn't want to talk. And it was live radio. Here, you could just go on to the next thing.
Let's play some more show tunes.
Right, exactly.
We were lucky after I joined the show.
Yeah.
We got an engineer to run the board for us while you and I talked to our guests.
Right.
And that really helped a lot.
Yeah. When I started, we were in a different room and it was a very small room, and I would be managing the board and talking over my shoulder to the guests. It was not good.
What are you most proud of doing at KMUZ Theatre Talk?
The theater calendar is one of the ways we tell people about what is going on in our area. And that was my invention. And I'm very proud of how it's turned out. You have a good idea of all that theater that is happening. When I started this, there was a lot of theater going on, but it is blossomed. And part of the reason is the Mid Valley Theater Network. It's a group of local theaters that gets together once a month to talk about what various theaters are doing and what everyone needs, like a set piece that somebody has that somebody needs.
Right, sharing resources and
Right, right,
costumes and
right.
technical resources and all that sort of good
You
stuff.
know, somebody says, I need 19th century costumes. Well, Pentacle's got them.
That's one of the really cool things about Mid Valley Theater Network is it really
Yeah.
has brought people together, and I think you've been the driving force to bring people together here every 2 weeks on Theater Talk to talk about the shows and to interview people and to take our listeners behind the scenes.
That's a really good example. I don't know what other people in communities do if they don't have theater talk, because where do you find out what's happening? Where do you find out what's auditioning? That's what we do.
Right, you have to go to the web page or for the theater or
Right.
count on a email blast to notify you and that sort of thing. And now everybody has an opportunity to learn from your Theater Talk calendar where things are going on, not just for the audience members, but for the actors and producers of these shows as well.
Oh, yeah. And it's really important to know what's going on. In Los Angeles, they have a publication called Backstage. I think by now it must be online, but you could find out what's auditioning through Backstage. We don't have that here in Salem, but we have a lot of theater. And somebody who just moved to this area and wants to audition for something uh, doesn't have any way of knowing unless they listen to Theater Talk.
Well, now that you're going to leave KMUZ Theater Talk in the lurch, I mean, for greener pastures, what is it you're going to be spending your time doing?
I think I will get involved in the Mid Valley Theater Network. There's been a lot of projects that I haven't had time for, and now I have time tabling and working behind the scenes, working on the One Act Festival. It's something that I wanted to do, and maybe now I will.
Will you do more acting or maybe directing?
I really don't think I would be a director. I couldn't do that. And I don't want to act. I'm retired. At a certain point, it's time to say goodbye. And, last year I did Madame Armfelt in a one night production of A Little Night Music. And
You were brilliant in that.
oh, thank you.
I got to tell you, sitting in the audience, and not just because you're my friend, but because there were a lot of my friends on that stage, but sitting in the audience and watching you, you were the most engaged actor with all the other people on that stage. And it
Oh,
was brilliant to see, Ann.
thank you. Thank you so much. It was a wonderful way to go out with a full orchestra and a beautiful theater, the Elsinore Theater, and it was a beautiful way to go out. I don't think I will do anything again. I don't know.
I'm honored in your trust that you're going to put KMUZ Theater Talk in my hands. I hope to bring some guest hosts in from time to time and maybe find a new partner if someone's interested in that.
Well, that's the reason why I reached out to you. You have so much experience in acting and directing, and you have radio experience too. And you have a depth of knowledge about theater in Salem, about community theater in general that I don't have. I've just done professional and semi-professional theater, and I didn't know how community theater worked. And you really bring a lot of knowledge to the table. It's great that you're taking over the show.
I hope I can live up to your expectations, Ann. And I'm sorry to see you go, but maybe from time to time we can bring you in and you can talk about the Salem Theater Network. That'd be fun too.
Okay.
Well, look, before I get too teary-eyed, let's get started with the KMUZ Theater Talk calendar, your KMUZ Theater Talk calendar. One more time, Ann.
Okay. The Albany Civic Theater at albanycivic.org. Irving Berlin's White Christmas runs through December 21st at Albany Civic Theater. Charlie's Aunt runs January 10th through 25th at ACT. This classic British period comedy is directed by Shauna Keefuck and Stephanie Schwartz. And Ride the Cyclone will run February 21st through March 15th at Albany Civic Theater. In this hilarious and outlandish story, the lives of 6 teenagers are cut short in a freak accident aboard a roller coaster. When they awake in limbo, a mechanical fortune teller invites each to tell a story to win a prize like no other, the chance to return to life.
Bridgetown Conservatory in Salem is on Facebook at bridgetownconservatory.org. And Bridgetown's GI Holiday Jukebox, a musical tribute to the American Theater Wing's Stage Door Canteen of World War II, runs December 12th through 14th at the Verona Studio in Salem's Reed Opera House. This show features Portland area professionals and Salem area Bridgetown Conservatory students. See the Bridgetown Conservatory website and Facebook page for information and tickets. And The Man on the Ceiling, with music and lyrics by Andrew Lippa and book by Jules Pfeiffer, plays at Bridgetown, Salem, February 13th through 16th, and in Portland, February 20th through 23rd. This one's directed by Vincenzo Maduri. 12-year-old Jimmy Gibbet wants to be a world-famous cartoonist, but his father disapproves, his mother is clueless, and his uncle writes flop musicals. Who can Jimmy turn to for inspiration and hope? Maybe The Man in the Ceiling can lead him to his true destiny.
Gallery Theater at gallerytheater.org. Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, the musical about a flying car, runs through December 15th at Gallery Theater. Check out our interview with director Katrina Godders and cast members from this fun show on our KMUZ Theater Talk podcast.
Kaiser Homegrown Theater is at kaiserhomegrowntheater.org and on Facebook. Open auditions are Saturday, December 7th to fill roles for 3 productions in Kaiser Homegrown's 2025 season, and each show has its own time slot. The Lion in Winter auditions are 10 a.m. to noon. Drinking Habits auditions are 12:30 p.m. to 2:30 p.m. and Waiting for Godot auditions are 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. on Saturday, December 7th. Plan on attending the audition slots for every show you're interested in. Auditions are at Kaiser Homegrown Theater on Shamawa Road in Kaiser, and audition details are on the Kaiser Homegrown Theater Facebook page.
The Majestic Theater is on Facebook and at majestic.org. Open auditions for Amadeus, playwright Peter Schaefer's profound exploration of genius, jealousy, and complex human emotions, happened at the Majestic Theater December 9th and 10th at 6:30 p.m. Callbacks are December 11th. Amadeus is directed by Riley Lucas, who says their production aims to break new ground by intending to cast female and non-binary actors in roles traditionally played by male performers. See the majestic.org auditions page for more information. Submissions are open through December 15th for the Majestic 8 10-minute play festival. The Majestic is looking for 8 short plays by Oregon and Washington playwrights with 2 to 5 characters that run 10 minutes or less with simple set and minimal light and sound requirements.
Mid-Valley Productions is on Facebook at Mid-Valley Productions and also at midvalleyproductions.org. The holiday favorite, It's a Wonderful Life, a live radio show, plays December 13th through 15th at the Russell Tripp Performance Center on the Linn-Benton Community College campus in Albany. For tickets and info, visit the Mid-Valley Productions website and Facebook page. Stay with us for our interview with the director and cast members from the show.
Pinnacle Theater at pinnacletheater.org. Miss Bennet, Christmas at Pemberley by Lauren Gunderson and Margot Melcon plays at Pinnacle Theater through December 21st. Listen to our KMUZ Theatre Talk podcast interview with director Jennifer Jimzewski and two cast members from this holiday special show.
Spotlight Community Theater is at spotlightct.com and on Facebook. And Spotlight's A Gunsmoke Christmas radio show runs December 13th through 15th at the theater, and they're at 383 North 3rd Avenue in downtown Staten. And a new musical adaptation of J.M. Barrie's classic story of Peter Pan will run February 6th through 22nd at Spotlight. It's directed by Shannon Rempel. For show information and tickets, go to spotlightct.com.
Theater 33 at Willamette University is at theater33.org and on Facebook. Back by popular demand, Theater 33 is reprising their original holiday production of A Christmas Carol, a 1940s radio play. This original radio comedy is set in a fictitious Salem radio station and features 4 actors playing dozens of roles along with live sound effects. It's written by Theater 33's Thomas Nabhan and runs December 6th through 14th. We'll hear more about it from Theater 33 Artistic Director Susan Coromel later in today's KMUZ Theatre Talk program.
Western Oregon University is at wou.edu/theater. Nora, A Doll's House by Steph Smith and directed by Kendra Steenerson plays February 26th through March 8th at the Rice Auditorium on the WOU campus.
Willamette University at wutheater.com. February 14th through 23rd, Willamette Theater presents Far Away, an hour-long futuristic nightmare in 3 short scenes that envisions a world where the promise of violence broods and nothing is to be trusted.
At the high schools, McKay High School is on Facebook at McKay Thespians, and next up at McKay is Beetlejuice. That one runs January 17th through 25th.
McNary High School on Facebook at McNary High School Theater. The Little Mermaid is coming to the McNary stage January 23rd through February 1st. That's followed by their one-act festival February 20th through 21st.
North Salem High School is on Facebook at NSHS Theater. The Christmas Sketches comes to the West Commons at North Salem High on December 13th through 15th. And Something Rotten, a hilarious mashup of 16th century Shakespeare and 21st century Broadway, is currently in rehearsals at North Salem High and will run January 9th through 18th.
South Salem High School on Facebook at Saxon Drama. The perennial holiday favorite, A Christmas Carol, runs December 6th through 15th at South Salem High.
Sprague High School has Urinetown the Musical on stage December 6th through 15th.
West Salem High School is at westsalemdrama.com. They are doing their annual winter showcase January 24th. That wraps up today's KMUZ Theatre Talk calendar for plays around the Mid-Willamette Valley.
Our first guest today is Theater 33 Artistic Director Susan Coromel to tell us all about reprising their original holiday production of A Christmas Carol, a 1940s radio play that runs December 6th through 14th at the Putnam Theater at Willamette University. And she'll also tell us what's ahead for Theater 33's Summer New Plays Festival. Welcome to KMUZ Theatre Talk, Susan.
Well, thank you. Thanks for having me. It's lovely to join you to talk about a little holiday cheer.
This is a repeat, right?
This is the 4th time that we are doing this show. I'm not actually sure what the original year was. It could have been 2017. It's the same cast except for one actor for the second time. Erica Toei will be joining us.
Well, that's fantastic. Back by popular demand with
Yeah,
almost the entire original cast.
yeah.
This is a very original show written by your husband and co-collaborator at Theater 33, Thomas Nabhan. Tell us a little bit about the origin of the script, aside from doing something a little different with Dickens' most favorite work.
Theater 33 is a small company in many ways, infrastructure for certain. We wanted to have a holiday offering. Well, it has to be original because that's what we do. We can't restage something that's already been written. So then we started to think about, well, we could do adaptation, and The Christmas Carol is a short story.
Yeah.
And it's in the public domain. So that obviously makes it something that we can do without too much trouble.
Yeah.
Then we just started to think about, for want of a better word, what is the hook of this version of A Christmas Carol? And so Tom started to play around with the idea of a radio show, and we did a lot of research into radio drama from the 40s. And there's such a great imagery that you can find where, you see all these actors in a room that looks like a carpeted living room and microphones. And so he went from there, and then he thought about how we could take the redemption story of A Christmas Carol and see how we could make that happen with the actors of the radio show. And so, of course, the man who plays Scrooge is a Scrooge. And so we went from there, and then a Scrooge needs something to be Scrooging about. And he went with the idea of this new Foley girl who's never done it before. She just got hired and had no time to rehearse because Salem's weather is a terrible snowstorm that's made it impossible for people to come to work, let alone get to work on time. So it sets up that she's late.
So for those who don't know what a Foley artist is, that's the person who does sound effects. This is probably the most fun hook in this whole show.
And the sound effects from the 40s, then they were making all the sounds. And so then there was a lot of research to be done about how they did that. It's all old theater tricks too that were happening before we had sound design in theater. But basically, what is a wind machine? What is the thunder? What is the sound of footsteps in snow? And that's actually shoes walking in cornstarch. And so on stage, there's a little tiny box and one big boot that she moves back and forth in the cornstarch. But what starts to happen is that she's a little kooky and she doesn't know what the sounds need to be all the time. And so she makes them up, or she gets so involved in the play that she decides that this is the best sound for that. And it's sometimes inappropriate and sometimes quirky, and hilarity ensues. But what our Scrooge discovers in the intermission is that nobody likes him. Dickens' story begins to work on him. But there's lots of physical comedy in it. And, it's the Christmas Carol told by 4 actors.
Yeah. How does that work?
Ryan Carty and Erica Toei do the lion's share of the story. Annie Rimmer Weeks, who's our Foley person, plays Tiny Tim, and she voices some people in the background at the Fezziwig party and such. But mostly it's Erica Toei and Ryan Carty. And I mean, there's probably 40 voices they do combined.
Oh, wow.
Different pitches, different energies, different dialects. And sometimes Ryan is all 3 of the voices at the same time. So there's something really kind of acrobatic about that too.
It's like a tight wire act with Dickens.
Tom Nabhan is playing Scrooge. Erica plays the narrator. So she's using Dickens language to bring us into the story. And then she plays all the female characters. And Ryan Carty plays all the male characters. So there's more of them.
What a wonderful thing for an actor to do. I mean, talk about putting you through your paces.
Yeah, so it's fun. It's fun to do a holiday show. It kind of gets you in the mood.
Yeah.
So tell me, Susan, that with this controlled chaos with Dickens's wonderful story, What do you hope audiences are going to take away from this crazy radio show version of A Christmas Carol?
With any good comedy, I think that it has to be grounded in reality for us to really take it seriously as an audience. And the thing that's delightful about the way this script has been developed is there's an anxiety about when you're on the air and off the air, right? And even now in our digital life, we don't quite have the same excitement as we do when we all went to the radio station to do this show, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
And so when that on-air sign, we've endowed that with the pressure of this story having to be told no matter what, as soon as that light goes on. And so as the problems come up with the Foley girl and fumbling to try to make it right, to try to get the story out, to try to keep everything moving forward. And so there's a lot of humor in the first act, but as the Scrooge character is taking stock, I think it really does honor what that story is about and why we keep returning to it as a holiday story that we remind ourselves of, the redemption of Christmas.
Well, I get a little Scroogey myself when I see the Christmas ornaments and decorations come into Costco at Halloween.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Or earlier.
And I'm like, WTF, Christmas already? It's not even November.
Yeah.
So, Susan, in addition to your holiday show, you're in the midst of evaluating scripts for Theater 33's Summer Festival of New Plays. Give us a little update about where you are with that.
That's right. Yeah, we have a reading team, and we have quite a few plays, and my team is reading and then evaluating them, giving everything a number. And so we haven't quite finished the first round of reading everything and giving everything a number, but we're close. And
how many scripts do you have?
We have 50.
Wow.
Which is a large number of scripts to have.
Yes.
Some of them are disqualified because the playwright isn't from the Pacific Northwest, nor do they have any kind of connection to the Pacific Northwest, right? So part of our mandate is that these are playwrights who are living in the Pacific Northwest or playwrights who grew up in the Pacific Northwest. The idea is that whatever is Oregon-centric or Pacific Northwest-centric is what we're hoping to grow with our company, and a sense of region and a sense of place. Our goal is to whittle it down to 12. We'll pick 6, but get it to 12 in the next round. That's going to be the hardest one because something really good's going to slip by. That just does.
Yeah.
We also have a 6-actor limit to each play, and some plays that were submitted have more, but there's no doubling plan. And so then we said, well, we can't, it's about a budget as well,
And the space.
And the space. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the goal is also for us to get, the very best storytelling that we can each summer. And you never know, which is kind of exciting. Who knows what the season's going to be, right? When everything's new.
When you finish choosing, you will have 3 plays in the Putnam and 3 plays in a pop-up?
We'll have the 3 pop-ups, but we picked 3 that have the most development and lights, sets, costumes.
Mm-hmm.
Those script-in-hand performances are going down to our main theater.
Oh, wow.
It'll still be intimate. We're going to design the space so that it's not the big wide open space that it is for the university plays, but we're going to grow our audience to 100 seats for that downstairs space. And then we're going to put the pop-ups in the Putnam Theater. That's the move for next summer. So there'll be sort of a unified design in the main stage that will hopefully accommodate without too much changeover all of the plays. And then we're going to run the plays one after another. Like on a Wednesday, you'll see one play, and on a Thursday, you could see a different play, and so forth.
Oh, it's going to repertory.
It's going to repertory in a tighter time. We'll be working all summer, but the festival itself, where you can see everything, will be a shorter span of time.
I see.
Well, thanks very much, Susan, for giving us an update about where you are with the Theater 33 Festival choices, and also talking about A Christmas Carol, a 1940s radio show playing at the Putnam Theater at Willamette University on the second floor the theater building. It runs December 6th through the 14th. That's opening night is tonight, folks. So you can get tickets at theater33.org. Go there now and reserve your seats. This is going to be a fantastic show. As Charles Dickens would say, it was the best of sounds. It was the worst of sounds. And this is going to be a great comic take and a touching Christmas story. Thank you very much, Susan Coromel, for joining us here on KMUZ Theatre Talk.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Joining us next on today's program are Mid-Valley Productions director Laura Blackwell and cast members J.J. Cisneros and Lee Matthews-Bach from the holiday favorite It's a Wonderful Life, a live radio show playing December 13th through 15th at the Russell Tripp Performance Center on the Linn-Benton Community College campus in Albany. Welcome to KMUZ Theatre Talk, Laura, Lee, and J.J.
Yes, welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hey, this is a wonderful story. It's a great movie. It's a stage play. It's a lot of things, but you guys are doing the live radio version. Laura, tell us what inspired you to bring this show to the stage for Mid-Valley Productions.
Well, I absolutely love this story. It is my all-time favorite movie. I watch it even when it's not Christmas time. To be able to bring it to the stage has always been a dream of mine to be a part of telling this story. The live radio play gives us a new way of telling it. It's not just a straightforward blocked kind of production with a bunch of costumes and a bunch of people playing, one character. It's the small ensemble group who get to tell this story, and all of the beautiful characters are played by just this small ensemble. And it's set in the 1940s. The audience itself is like the live studio audience getting to watch these radio actors get to tell this story. And it's just such a fun take on it. And it's a movie and a story that means a lot to me. So it's been a great trip so far.
Well, is this a story within a story production, or is it just straight It's a Wonderful Life?
It's a little bit of a story within a story. We do get to meet the radio actors. So each of my ensemble actors has their own persona, and they get introduced to the audience as those 1940s radio actors. But it's mostly the story. They're there to tell it as if it were a radio play being recorded.
And JJ and Lee, who do you play?
I am fortunate enough to get to play George Bailey and young George Bailey.
I play several different characters. So I play George's mother. I play Mary, George's wife. I play her mother, as well as Mary and George Bailey's youngest daughter, Zuzu.
Oh, it would be very attractive to an actor to play so many parts. How do you approach it?
Well, I actually have come out of, Laura likes to tease that I've come out of acting retirement because I usually direct to do this show with her because I can't tell that woman no. And so, and she knows it. In my time acting, I've always had one character where I could just really kind of slip into who that person is and sort them out and figure them out and bring them to life. And so this is a really different journey for me. So far, it's been fun. It's been challenging, and I'm kind of digging it. But don't tell Laura because she might ask me again.
Too late.
And JJ, you're playing a really iconic role.
Yeah, it's definitely, it was an intimidating decision at first. We've all seen this show so many times. It's sort of ingrained in our brains, this wonderful image of Jimmy Stewart playing this role. So a little bit scary, but it's just been an incredible cast, and it's fun to really sink my teeth into it and find my own version of George Bailey. So I have not been watching the film at all. I've made a very conscious effort not to hear or watch any of it and really try to find what George Bailey means to me.
That's a really good decision. It's just a wonderful part.
Exactly. It's wonderfully written, and an older role, an older play, but still so relevant today, right? When we talk about community showing up for one another and, you know,
Mm,
reflecting on our own lives and the impact that we have on others. And I think that's a story that just really needs to be told again and again, especially today.
that's very true.
What do you think is the most important theme about this show, JJ?
I think if I'm going to personalize, I would say really understanding that we have an impact that we often don't see, that goes beyond what we could ever anticipate. So I think that really speaks to being conscious of the decisions that we make and the things that we do in our lives day to day. And knowing that sometimes when we don't feel like we're making a difference, perhaps we actually are.
I think it's also exciting when all the characters in the town support your efforts at the end of the play.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what really speaks to everyone about this show at the end of the day is seeing a community come together. Watching and listening to this ensemble play multiple roles so quickly and changing voices. It's just been so much fun. I actually think I have the easiest job because I just have to do two voices. People like Lee have to do several, and oftentimes their characters are right on top of each other. So it's really been amazing to watch everyone do this show.
Lee, you're playing more roles than JJ, 8 roles or so. What are the challenges that come with that?
I think trying to find a different voice for each of them, that's taken a little bit of work, but I'm feeling really solid and good. So visualizing, Laura's been so great about like, who is this person? Yes, they only have 4 lines, but like, who are they? And that has really lent to me the ability to be able to figure out who they are and what would they sound like. That's been a challenge, but a really fun one.
Are you doing any accents?
I am not. And I'll tell you what, I do a great Southern and British accent, and those just don't work in this play. So, no, you've got my straight voice just sounding very different. No accents.
That's even more impressive.
Well, Laura, what is different for you directing an ensemble show like this where basically, you've got actors that have 2 names, their character and the character they're playing, and they're doing the voice acting, but it's not like blocking a stage play or rehearsing a musical where there's song and dance. What are the challenges that came for you as a director in putting this kind of show on the stage?
More than I thought there was going to be going into it. Really, really just encouraging and helping the actors to find those characters and really breaking down like, who is this person? How old are they? Where are they in this moment in their lives? And how does that lend itself to the voice that you're eventually finding with that person? And if it does start kind of sounding like one of the other characters, then I get to say, oh, let's try something new with that, and starting to sound like that other person, or, oh, I think you lost it there a little bit. Let's bring it back to what you had before. And so I'm there to encourage them to explore and play, which is really, really fun to see what they do, but then ultimately to guide them as need be. But I really don't have to do a lot of work with this group because they're all just so on top of it and so excited to get to do all of these different voices and characters that it makes my job a little easier.
Are there roles for younger people in the show as well? I know that there's a couple of kids in the movie version.
Yeah, I could have cast some kids. I did not. I kind of find the joy that these adult people get to play these little kids. And, Lee is one of them. She gets to play Zuzu, the sweetest little girl on earth. And, having this grown woman play this little girl is a challenge in itself, but she's doing great. I've got other adult actors playing these children's voices and they're finding them beautifully. And they're very real and very, very sweet.
I'm wondering about the theater company. I haven't heard of it before.
Yeah, that's actually awesome to bring that up. That is actually a company that myself and 2 of my friends have started. We were really sad when LBCC cut its theater program, and knowing that beautiful theater space was just being used sporadically and not as often as we wished it would have been. So we reached out to LBCC and we started a company, and We're not in sponsorship from them or in partnership with them. We are just contracted through them to use that beautiful space and put on productions. And we don't just do theater. We've done movie screenings and concerts and drag shows and a lot of things. So we are pretty much brand new. We started about a year ago and are hoping to keep going. We're very slowly getting our feet wet and building our name. And we're really focusing this year on getting into the community and reaching out and doing community events. And we started a partnership with Albany Pride and Jackson Street Youth Shelter. And so we're really just trying to kind of get our name out there a little bit. We've only done one theater production before this one. So we're brand new. We're just getting started.
Well, we've been talking with Laura Blackwell, the director of It's a Wonderful Life, a live radio show that plays December 13th through 15th at the Russell Tripp Performance Center on the Linn-Benton Community College campus in Albany. And joining her have been J.J. Cisneros and Lee Matthews Bach, two very talented actors from this show. Just a reminder that for tickets and info, you can visit the Mid-Valley Productions website. That's midvalleyproductions, one word, .org, or check their Facebook page. Get your tickets now, folks. It's going to sell out and be a really fun show. It's only one weekend, so make your move today. Thank you very much, Laura, JJ, and Lee, for joining us here on KMUZ Theatre Talk.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you all so much for the time.
Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you.
It's time to wind up today's KMUZ Theatre Talk program. Thank you for joining us. Next Friday at 9 a.m., tune in to KMUZ at 100.7 FM to hear Talking About Art with Joel Zach. KMUZ Theatre Talk is a proud member of the Mid-Valley Theatre Network.
KMUZ Theatre Talk comes your way at 9 a.m. the first and third Friday of the month on KMUZ Community Radio at 100.7 and 88.5 FM, on KMWV FM Dallas at 98.3 HD2, streaming worldwide at KMUZ.org and on the KMUZ app. And you can always listen to all of our KMUZ Theatre Talk episodes anytime, wherever you get your podcasts.
After taking a holiday break on December 20th, Ed will return January 3rd with a brand new KMUZ Theatre Talk program. Meanwhile, go to our KMUZ Theatre Talk Facebook page for news and updates about live theater in the Mid-Willamette Valley.
And if you haven't yet made a year-end contribution to support KMUZ Theatre Talk and the rest of KMUZ's great community radio programs, please go to KMUZ.org right now, click on Donate to Your Favorite Show, and choose KMUZ Theatre Talk. And thanks for your support. It's been a wonderful time working with you, Ann, for nearly a decade, and as a co-host here on KMUZ Theatre Talk. I'm going to really miss you, and I know our listeners will too. So one more time for luck, okay? Here we go.
We'll see you in the front row.